Welcome. Thanks for joining me for week 2 of our little 6-week course on how yoga practice supports good mental health. And tonight I am giving you a class which is entitled Mental Health Through Mindfulness. So it's a bit of a vast subject actually, but I'm just going to give a 2-minute overview of it. I think, maybe we think of mental health in lots of different ways. So, we may think of it in terms of external events affecting us. So I certainly would say my mental health's been improved this week by both the results of the US election and the COVID vaccine, which is a massive breakthrough in the news today and looks really, really promising. But mindfulness is something that has been at the heart of yoga for over 2,000 years. And it's there in Patanjali's sutras, which I mention often, which is the key classical text on yoga, all about creating a very stable mind in order to meditate. And by definition, the act of meditation is one in which you are in a completely mindful state and completely present, with just awareness of yourself in that moment. So no thinking about the past or dreaming about the future. And it's this kind of unsteadiness in the mind, where the mind is constantly hopping around, both within the present and into the past and into the future. It's like a time traveling mind. It's that mind that's very unsteady, which also tends to be ineffective, unhappy, disturbed, leads to different negative aspects. I honestly think that a mindfulness study of Donald Trump's mind would be an extraordinary example of the ways in which overblown egoism, narcissism, sociopathic tendencies, all the things we associate with Trump, even though he's supported by so many Americans still. Those qualities tend to be of a person that has a very unsteady mind. And then all the books of the behind the scenes going on at the White House just speak of that, with the chaos and the firings and the rapid changes of direction. So it's probably not a good trait to have in a political leader. It's perhaps heartening that in our Parliament at Westminster, one of the biggest all-party parliamentary groups is the APPG on mindfulness, which has many MPs in its membership, and most of the parliaments across Europe have similar groups as well. So I'm just going to define mindfulness, because it's a bit of a buzzword, but it is basically becoming more aware of your thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations so that you can better manage them. And also, once you become more aware of the feelings and sensations, particularly patterns of thought, then you can see when those patterns of thought are causing problems, like a very negative self-image or obsessive behavior in one direction. Then you have a much better chance of kind of stepping back from that pattern, seeing it for what it is, and then making changes. And mindfulness has been very effective, to the extent that National Institute of Clinical Excellence in the UK recognises it as a suitable treatment for people suffering repeated bouts of depression. And the Oxford Mindfulness Centre defines mindfulness as knowing moment by moment what is going on inside and outside. So it's there in the yoga tradition. It's very popular in current medical practice and psychology and psychiatry. And it's a very effective way of enabling us to feel a little more grounded and a little more settled, and to bring about overall a little bit more steadiness into our own minds. Now we're gonna do a yoga practice, and I would say that your experience of every yoga practice and every class you do is one of mindfulness really what you're doing in a yoga practice is going through the motions of training the mind to, over time, become more steady. So don't forget that. It's nice to join a class and be in a group setting, although a little less of the group social bonding over Zoom. But the main thing is to have those tools, develop that steadiness of mind, and then it just flows into the whole of your life. And I really, that for me is the purpose of yoga, and enabling us to lead our lives more skillfully with this steadier mind, not to be so reactive, not to be so imprisoned by patterns of thinking and the conditioned mind that is spoken about so often in the yoga tradition. So let's begin just by sitting quietly for a moment. And if you're in the chair, you'll find it easy to keep the spine nice and upright. And if you're sitting on the floor, just give yourself any props you need to lift the pelvis and find that straight, neutral spine with the natural curves present. And then if you're happy to close the eyes, or have the gaze forward and downcast. And just take a moment to check in with yourself. So if you are rating your level of mindfulness right now, and perhaps during the day you've just had, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, the most mindful, the most considered, the most meditative, and 1 being the most agitated, just place your mind on that scale. And we also know that our quality of mind, our steadiness of mind, is continually changing. It's changing with how we feel, what we do, the people we're with, the people we feel relaxed and grounded with and safe with, leading us to that steadier mind. And in situations of stress, or being with people we find more difficult to deal with, we may experience that agitation of mind, that unsteadiness. And it's in those situations the most where we call on the skills of our practice, mainly our steady breath, but also our ability just to release tension in the physical body, to bring ourselves back to the still center, which is the essence of us. Because we can only really be in our essence, be our true selves, when we're in the present moment. Every moment that we're in the past or in the future, where the mind is wandering, we're not really in touch with ourselves to the same degree. Excuse me. And then notice how you are on a physical level, your energy levels. And if there's anything in your body you're looking after, then make sure you look after it tonight in your yoga practice. And as we move through tonight's practice, I'll just regularly remind you to reflect on what you're feeling in terms of the quality of mind, the feelings that you have, the emotions, and the sensations in the body. And that little 3 focus points for our practice will really help to draw the mind into the here and now. So tuning into your breath, and we're simply going to be as mindful as we can about our inhale and our exhale. And without having any goal of a certain length or depth or quality, but simply bringing our focus, our attention, noticing the beginning, the middle and the end of the inhalation, and the beginning, the middle and the end of the exhalation. Allow your breath to feel as natural as possible. Notice the sensations in your body as you breathe. Notice the dominant emotion you experience as you breathe. And notice the quality of mind as the mind becomes absorbed in the breath. As usual, we're doing all our breathing in and out through the nose unless the nose is blocked. And then on the next inhale, blinking open the eyes if you've had the eyes closed. Just let the arms hang away from the body, give them a shake, try and let them hang, feel as if you're shaking out any tension, flicking it out through the fingertips. And then letting the arms hang, doing a little bit of shoulder shrugging, bringing the shoulders forwards and up as you breathe in and back and down as you breathe out. Notice the bodily sensations here, the level of tension. There nearly always is some tension in the shoulders. And our skill at releasing it is one of the things that we are developing through our practice. And then we're going to bring the palms softly together in front of the chest and really feel as if we're allowing the shoulders to move back and sink down away from the ears. So there's no hunching up at all. And then as you breathe in, if you can keep the shoulders like that, there's a real feeling of lifting and opening the front of the chest. And as you breathe out, bringing the palms together again. So let this movement reflect your breath. Let the breath cue the arms. When we make that subtle change from breath and movement to breath leading movement, breath initiating movement, the sense of stillness, the experience of mindfulness becomes amplified greatly. And just one more of these. And then we're going to release the arms down, give the arms another little shake. And another practice that we do quite regularly in this class is turning the palms out. Arms are just slightly forward of the body, so not too far back. And then breathing in, floating the arms up. And at the end of that inhale, just using the pause between inhale and exhale to turn the palms and exhale the arms down, turning the palms. Again, let the breath initiate and lead the arms. And see if the introduction of the turning of the palms just adds a little bit of punctuation to your breath. A slightly stronger feeling of the beginning, the middle and the end of the inhale, then the turn, and the beginning, the middle and the end of the out breath. And as we do this just 2 or 3 more times, trying to allow the shoulders to get softer and softer with each movement. When we first start our yoga practice, or if we have a lot of tension in the shoulders, we feel the shoulders coming up as the arms come up, And we're looking for the opposite. We're looking for a feeling of the shoulders moving down the back as the arms come up. And in that way, the shoulders and the shoulder girdle act as a counterweight to the arms, and it makes the movement feel effortless. So this next exhale will be the last one. We'll give the arms another little shake. We're going to move into a twist, a slightly dynamic twist. So we're going to breathe in, take the arms forward, and they're going to reach up to a comfortable position. So if taking the arms all the way overhead and straight is not comfortable for you, then just bring the arms to around here with the elbows bent. So this is inhale. And then as we exhale, we're going to bring the hands in front of the chest as we rotate the upper body and the head clockwise. When you next breathe in, begin to release from the twist, so you're reaching up, facing forwards, and ready to exhale and twist to the other side. Having a real sensation of creating space in the spine, in the axis of the body on the in-breath, and then using that space to twist into on the exhale. And then the next time we twist clockwise around to the right, you're going to turn the head the opposite way to the shoulders. So head looks back into the room. Inhale, reach up, head and shoulders forward. Exhale, shoulders round to the left, head turning clockwise to the right. And we'll go once more to each side using this counter twist. And then this time we're going to inhale, reach up, and exhale, place the palms on the thighs, and then use the arms to lower the front of the body forwards. Just come forwards until the lower ribs are beginning to connect with the thigh. Keep the hands on the thighs, and then tuck the chin in and let the crown of the head hang forward. Just release any tension in the back of the neck and stay in that forward fold position. Have a little bit of intention of sending the hips back towards the back of the chair, which will just give you that feeling of being really rooted through the pelvis, so that this forward fold can really feel like the maximum lengthening that you can achieve in your lower back. And we can just do a couple of things here. So as you breathe in, bring the spine back to flat, lift the front of the chest off the thighs. And as you breathe out, release down a little bit further. And we'll do that 2 more times. I'll just give you a side view of that if you're unsure. So you will be in a slightly rounded back position when you're in the release position. And then inhale, coming up. Exhale, release. So we're just contracting some of these back muscles, which we then stretch out on the exhale. And when you've done that for a 3rd time, just staying in that forward fold for a couple more breaths and continuing to enjoy that feeling of space in the lower back. Lovely. So we're going to move down onto the mat now. And as I always say, if anybody is staying in the chair and needs some instructions to have this class as a chair practice, that's absolutely fine. I'm happy to do that. Just unmute and call out. Otherwise, I'll assume we're all coming down to the mat. And we're going to begin, as we often do, with the knees in over the chest, but making sure we've got adequate support under the back of the head. So back of the neck long, forehead at least level with the chin, if not a little bit higher. And then you can take hold of the knees or the back of the thighs and just rock gently from side to side. So I think, as I pointed out last week, the practice we just did, this practice, are identical shapes for the body, but this way of folding over the thighs has a different relationship with gravity and just enables us to support the spine on the floor and use the firmness of the floor to release some of the muscles of the back. And if you roll the head from side to side in the opposite direction to the knees, because again, the head is supported, the neck is particularly happy to rotate in this position. And then come back to center, release the hands down. I'm going to do a couple of things tonight which will involve engaging the tummy muscles. So if you had quite a big meal recently, you might not want to do these ones very strongly at all. If you feel like you've got food in the tummy, you can just focus instead on drawing up the pelvic floor rather than drawing in the abdominal muscles. So the first one we're going to do is to place the palms down on the mat, just a little way away. Keep the knees together and begin to circle around the back of the sacrum. And if you keep these circles reasonably small, then you won't be using a lot of your abdominal strength. But if you are okay to work a little bit more strongly on these muscles, which are so important for spinal support, then you're going to slowly increase the size of the circles, taking the knees a little bit further away and keeping an eye on the lower back. So if the lower back begins to arch away from the floor more than just a little bit, more than its natural curve, then you probably need to do slightly smaller circles and you need just a little bit more strength in the core over time to support that lumbar arch and contain it in a safer position. So let's change the direction of our circles, and this time we're moving in from bigger circles to smaller circles, spiraling in until you're coming back around the sacrum, and then take hold of the shins or the thighs and exhale, draw them in, breathing in, let the arms straighten, and exhale, draw the thighs in. And then keep hold of the right leg, slide the left leg away. And we'll do this practice in a couple of different ways. Again, it's a very, very popular practice, one I teach a lot, one you've done repeatedly in the past. So this first one is particularly familiar. We're just going to do the same thing with one leg. So breathing out, drawing the right thigh in and making the left leg long and strong. As you inhale, let the arms straighten, keep the shoulders relaxed. Exhale, drawing the right thigh in. Everything needs to be pain-free. So this should just feel like a deep opening in the hips and a stretch to some deep muscles, including the hip flexors, but there shouldn't be any pain or significant discomfort. And then on the next inhale, we're going to continue working on this right side, but in a slightly different way. So now you're going to breathe in, take both arms up into the air and overhead. And then as you breathe out, the hands are going to come back and catch hold of that right leg, shin or thigh. And for those who want to, you're going to finish the exhale by bringing the chin up towards that right knee. Inhale, arms straight, head down, arms go overhead. We're doing two more of these. Exhale. You need quite a long exhale to bring the arms back and squeeze the thigh in. And quite a long inhale to release the head down before you take the arms overhead. So here we go with the last one. And then we're going to inhale, head down. Exhale, release the right leg and slide the leg straight and give both legs a little bounce and a wriggle, and notice the sensations in the body. Remember, that's one of our key skills for building mindfulness, is this constant turning of our attention within, not just to our thoughts and our feelings, but the bodily sensations. And through that refinement, the mind will become steadier. So right leg and hip are probably feeling quite different from each other. Let's make the right leg strong now. Bring the left leg in. And again, working with the breath, exhaling, drawing the thigh in. Inhale, arms straight. The holding the thigh rather than the shin is particularly useful if you have any knee injury going on either side. It works in exactly the same way. And then on the next exhale, make that the last one, and then breathing in, taking the arms overhead, keep the left knee in over the chest. And as you do your long exhale, catching the shin or the thigh, squeezing it in, and only if appropriate for you, bringing the chin up towards the left knee. Inhale, head down, arms overhead, stretch. Release the shoulders, stretch the body. Exhale, drawing in. And once more, inhale. And exhale. Breathing in, take the head down, release the left leg, slide the left leg straight. Give both legs another little jiggle and rock the pelvis from side to side. So there should be a sense of more evenness between the legs. That's probably going to be your experience, although there's a lot of asymmetry in the body, so you may experience one side differently to the other side. We're going to continue with a little bit of hip opening now. So one hand on each knee, and this is the one where we're going to breathe in and circle the knees wide for half a circle, and breathe out, draw the knees together. And with each circle, trying to find just a little bit more width in the circles, a little bit more space into the hip joints. We'll do a few of these, sitting around a lot for whatever reason that we're all doing at the moment tends to tighten up the hips. And once you've got tightness in the hips, it makes the joints above and below those joints vulnerable, so the knees and the lower back. So we really want to keep the hips as mobile as possible. Lovely. And then next time the knees come together, just release the feet down and move the knees from side to side. Just ease out any feeling of residual tension in the back of the pelvis from the hip opening movement. And then place the feet hip width apart or slightly wider. And we're going to breathe in, take both arms overhead, bring the right leg in over the body. And at the end of the inhale, try to make an L shape between both arms and one leg. And as you come into the stretch, if you're overdoing it, then you'll probably be doing this. You'll be pushing too much into this left foot, and the back of the pelvis will be either lifted or wonky. So feel as if the back of the pelvis is glued to the mat, And as you exhale, bring the arms back, bend that right knee, bring it back down. And then moving on to the left leg and both arms. We're going to do 2 more on each side. So let your breath lead the movement. And tight hamstrings are very common. And when we feel a lot of tightness in the muscle, it can trigger agitation in the mind or even an emotional response and a judgment. So we're just taking a moment to notice what is arising in our mind, in our emotions as we do what is probably a slightly more challenging stretch. And if it doesn't happen, that's good. But I'll probably get you with the next stronger stretch with the belt. That's 3 on each side. We're going to do that with both legs now. If you have any weakness in the core or lower back issues, just carry on doing 1 leg at a time. But otherwise, see if you can breathe in and bring both knees in over the chest and extend both legs up to the ceiling. Pull the toes back, spread the fingers, spread the toes. Exhaling, knees come in. And as you lower the feet down, just engage a little bit of core and feel that that lower back is not arching away as you do that, that it's held stable. So we'll do 3 or 4 more of these. Inhale, arms overhead, both knees in, both legs stretching up. Beautiful L shape with the body. Exhale, releasing down with the core zipped up from the pelvic floor, right up through the abdominal area to just below the lower ribs. And then let's make the next one our last one. So when we stretch both legs at the same time, it's always a little bit more challenging than doing one. So this is a slightly deliberate act of trying to invite ourselves to explore how we react to the challenges of our practice. And, just in that most simplistic way, as we meet the challenges of our practice with equanimity and poise and mindfulness, then we try and take that skill out into things that might be challenging off the mat. So practice is going to be slightly different now. We're going to use the belt around both legs. We're going to breathe in and let the knees come in towards the chest. And we're going to breathe out and use the belt to stretch both legs. Inhaling, knees to chest. Exhale, and make this exhale as long as you comfortably can, coming into the stretch. Watch out with the shoulders. I've got my elbows tucked close into the ribs. I've got a feeling that my shoulders are back and down, shoulder blades are flat on the mat behind. We don't want to feel the shoulders are rising up and the elbows sneaking away from the sides of the body here. So keep this going for a few more. A double hamstring stretch, both legs stretching at the same time, is challenging. Notice the sensations in your body. Notice the quality of mind. Notice any emotional feelings that are arising as you do this practice. And then on the next exhale, we're going to move into our most challenging stretch, which is holding the stretch in both legs. So if you are tight in the back of the legs, you may not be able to straighten the legs fully. If you can straighten the legs fully, you're trying to move from perhaps this position to vertical. And if you're more flexible, you're beginning to bring the legs in, closing the angle with the upper body. But just be aware you don't overdo that. Start to pull with the arms and begin to put a shaking tension into these muscles. Keep it in that therapeutic zone where the muscles are being stretched without becoming traumatized, and the breath can remain steady and even. As we hold this stretch for a few more breaths, it's nice to do it with the belt. And with those shoulders back and down, elbows tucked in, you can really feel as if you are pressing down to the ground with the shoulders, but you're also using the belt to pull the legs deep into the hips and feel that connection through the back of the hips down to the ground. So it feels like a really grounded place from which to do this challenging stretch. And then what we're going to do now is breathe in, bend both knees, but just take the left leg out. And we're going to exhale and take that right leg back up into the same stretch. And just feel perhaps a slight sense of release, maybe a slight deepening of the stretch as we move to just one leg. So we have much less resistance to overcome. We'll take 5 really good quality breaths here, really steady, really mindful, more about the breath than the stretch. At the end of your 5th breath, breathe in, bend the knee, let the left foot take over, take the right foot down, foot flat on the floor, and exhale, come into the same held stretch on the other leg. And again, coming into 5 slow, mindful breaths. At the end of your 5th exhale, just let that left leg release, take the belt off, draw the knees in, rock from side to side, and then take the feet down, slide the legs away, and just notice the sensations in the legs now. We really worked on the hips and the legs. Should be quite a lot of sensation there, and hopefully a feeling of lightness and release and perhaps space as you work into these lower extremities of the body. So we're going to come back to semi-supine, and I did promise you a couple of practices about engaging the core. So we're going to do one more now. And it may help you just to place the palms or the fingertips on the abdomen, just around the navel, a couple of fingers below, maybe just the thumb above. And as you exhale, just feel as if you're drawing these soft tissues down towards the ground, and you can feel your lower back pressing against the floor, against the mat below you. And then as you breathe in, you're just going to release about 50% of that drawing in. So enough softness in the abdomen that the breath is full, it's not being interfered with by a tight tummy. And then exhale, drawing the tummy muscles in. So we're going to do 5 of these in total in your own time. And in your own practice, you could do as many of these as you wanted to. It can really help to fire up the deepest layer of your core muscles, your transversus abdominis. And this is a muscle which, from a lot of sitting around, can become, it can almost lose its natural engagement to support posture. So we're kind of retraining a deep postural muscle to engage when we need it. And what you find when you've worked this practice, even for a few breaths like this, but particularly over time, that you can then move into feeling like there's a very subtle but deep engagement of that muscle. So that if you rest the hands beside the body, there is, and then bring them back to feel the abdomen, there's some tone there. Whereas perhaps before, and you could just let that go, this would be squishy. And then you've got that, just that essence of engagement, and there is tone here. And that tone is like a corset for the lower back. So we're going to use that now, sliding away anything under the back of the head, pressing the shoulder blades down, and then breathing in, maintaining this drawn in abdomen, lifting the pelvis, and exhaling, trying to roll down the spine. One vertebra at a time, pelvis last of all. Inhale, so kind of undulation, pelvis up, and then exhale, back rolling down onto the mat. Just continue for a few more breaths. And for the purposes of what we've just been doing and kind of developing that core awareness, just keep your focus on maintaining that subtle tone in the abdomen, and not to worry too much about how high the pelvis is going or how well you're managing to roll down the spine. And just for those who want to, on the next inhale, if you want to lift and just hold this position at any height, low, medium or high, and then feel as if you are pressing into the balls of the big toe, slightly internally rotating the thighs. Really, if you touch the fingertips on the thighs, you'll feel the quad muscles here at the front are working really hard. You don't have to hold this for ages, up to 5 breaths, but 3 would be absolutely fine. And you may find pace of breath will just quicken a little because you're using a lot of muscles there. So take your time, but when you're ready to release, release down on an exhale, hug the knees in and rock from side to side. So our last practice before we come onto all fours, do the cat and the dog and then up to standing, is a twisting pose. And we're going to come into our twist tonight in a slightly different way. So if you lie on your side and then give yourself enough support from a blanket or a yoga block, so that the head is, if you imagine the head is being supported in line with the spine, whereas if you didn't have the block, the head would be tilting down to the floor. So trying to preserve this neutral neck, and then make sure that if you turn the head, as you're going to in a moment, you're not going to roll off your support. You've got enough support there. So we're going to stay on our right side. We're going to squeeze the knees together. We're going to place the palms on top of each other, reaching away from the body at shoulder height, and then breathing in, just sliding the left hand up and around. And then as you exhale, opening the shoulder, turning the head, looking to the left as you open into the twist. Breathing in, bring the arm back around and up around the crown of the head, and breathing out, bring the palm back together. You can do that 2 more times. So this is also a shoulder release as well as a spinal twist. Breathing in, a big circle around the crown of the head, breathing out, moving into the twist. Breathing in, bring the arm back over the crown of the head, exhale, palms together. Just notice what happens to the legs. If the legs are separating as you go into the twist, then you've run out of twist. It's not a bad thing, but if you want to maximize your twist, you'll keep the thighs actively squeezing together. This time we're going to hold the twist on this side. So inhale, exhale, and breathe. So this is where you might squeeze those thighs together. You might just turn the head a little bit further if there's a tiny bit more neck mobility to have. And you'll try to encourage this left shoulder to release down towards the floor. make sure you're not feeling any pain or discomfort in the shoulders as you do this. And if you are, it might just be a matter of changing the arm position or even tucking the back of the hand down towards the back of the pelvis once you're in the twist. Breathing in, coming up, and breathing out, bringing the palms together. And then to do the other side, just simply turning around, facing the other way. And this time the right hand is on top, and then moving into the twist in the same way. 3 dynamic, and then we will be holding the twist. Keep everything soft in the shoulders. Use that long exhale to release into the twist. And as you move into your twisting position for the 3rd time, just holding the twist, squeezing the thighs, and using your breath to subtly release a little more deeply into this posture. And then on your next inhale, bring the arm back overhead, exhaling, palms together, and then rolling back onto the back of the body, bringing the knees in, taking a little rock from side to side. And then we're going to come onto all fours by rolling onto our side. We're going to pad the knees. And I'm going to invite you to use the seat of the chair for this version of the cap. If you'd rather have the hands on the mat, that's absolutely fine. Do keep the hands a little way in front of the shoulders though, to minimize the strain into the wrists. So you can rest on the chair with the palms or with the forearms if you don't want to take any weight into the wrists. And this then begin to simply move with the breath. Make this cat very intuitive, led by the breath, undulating the spine, inhaling, opening, exhaling, rounding the back, getting as much fluidity and movement into your spine as you can. And then after the next exhale, just releasing back, heels towards hips. Rest the hands on the chair still, or bring them down, make a pillow. Rest the forehead down. And then press into the hands coming up, tuck the toes under, walk the hands back. And we're coming slowly up to standing. Standing at least hip width apart, and we're going to use the chair to support our lunge. And again, making sure this chair is really stable, ideally up against the wall, wedged in. You can be really confident that it's not going to move. So as usual, no turning out of the back foot or just a centimetre or two, so that as you come into this lunge, you don't really need to go very deep until you feel the stretch up through the front of the left thigh with the right foot on the chair. If you can include a lunge into your day somehow, as you're going up the stairs, just pause for a moment at the bottom of the stairs, put the right foot on stair 2 or 3 or wherever you can get to comfortably, and then swap over It will really help to keep these hip flexors long, which are so crucial to avoiding strain on the lower back. So doing quite a simple lunge this week, just holding it for a few breaths like that and then stepping off, giving the legs a little shake, and then coming onto the other side, left leg forwards, arms resting on the thigh, shoulders back and down, spine upright. Really enjoying that lovely stretch, both through the calf muscle and Achilles at the back, but also through the front of the thigh, this time on the right side. Notice the sensations in the body. Notice the quality of your mind. And notice any feelings that arise in this practice. And then releasing the left leg, giving the legs a little shake. Turning the chair around, holding the back of the chair, and then walking ourselves back into a nice easy downward dog, feet hip width apart, knees remaining bent, and looking for this lovely flat back, the sense of stretch through the outside of the shoulders, and just a little bit of a reminder of when we were drawing the tummy in, and we could do that easily and feel the lower back being pressed to the floor. So it's a little more difficult in this position. But imagine you're drawing the tummy in and just cushioning the lower back against the spine at the back there. Soft tissues at the front pressing back to the firm structures of the bone and just supporting that whole lower abdominal area. Nice free breathing in the chest, lots of length and space through the spine. Sit bones widening and extending back away from the crown of the head. And then breathing in, just coming up, walking the feet in and giving the arms and legs another little shake. So we're coming into our transition now to standing pose. I'm going to do a balance, a hip opener, and a little bit of warrior one, and then we'll be coming down to our closing pose, relaxation and breathing. So as usual, starting with the palms together in front of the chest, and then releasing the hands down as you breathe in, rolling the shoulders back, turning the palms out, raising the hands above the head, and then exhaling down through the center of the body. Really noticing the sensations through the soles of the feet. And as you reach up, feel as if you're pressing down to the ground through the feet, through every part of the foot. And the more you press down with the feet, the more the arches want to lift away from the ground. So let's encourage those arches by lifting the toes of both feet as the arms sweep up and relaxing the toes as the arms come down. And then gripping the mat with the toes, floating the heels just a little bit off the mat, and exhale, coming down. This is just really foot activation, but also obviously some balancing. So if you feel at all unsteady, you've still got the back of the chair right there, and you can just continue to do this practice with one arm floating up and the other supporting the chair, and just swapping around every now and then. So alternating between the toes and the heels. And the next time you've raised the heels, when they come down, make that the last one and give the arms and the legs a little shake. So we're going to come into the heron balance and then develop that into a slightly more demanding form of the balance. And we will need the chair, actually everyone will need the chair when we get to the more demanding balance. So as you breathe in, just shifting the weight into the left foot, bending the right knee. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, shift into the right leg, bend the left knee. Remember, you can stay here or progress to lifting the knee and lowering with the breath. And the next time the left leg goes down, make that the last one. Shake out any tension in the arms and the legs. So I'll just show you this 4 breath sequence. If you feel like you're going to lose your balance at any time, you just release the leg you're holding and come back. And if you are feeling unsteady and you need to do this one with the chair, it can be done. I'm going to show you the chair first. So it is breathing in, lifting the knee, breathing out, catching the shin and drawing the knee in. Breathing in, straightening the arm, and breathing out, lowering down. So on the left side, if you're not using any chair, then it becomes a 2-handed, drawing in, inhale, arms straight, exhale, release. So just moving in and out of this held heron balance. And again, because balancing is something that comes and goes, can be a challenge, we're deliberately doing this in our mindfulness class to see what it throws up. Any feelings of frustration or any emotional response, any sensations in the body. And just trying to hold that steady mind and find that practice sense of equanimity and steadiness. Balance doesn't work on that one, just let it go. You've got the next leg coming up in a moment. So do one more round in your own time, right side and left side, with or without the chair. And when you've finished your last one, just coming back into mountain pose, pausing for a moment. And then if everybody starts by holding the back of the chair or the wall, because this is quite a difficult balance, we're going to bend the right knee, move the hand onto the inside of the shin and open the hip and turn the head to look away from the raised leg. So at this point, if you're feeling confident, you can take your hand off the chair, and we're going to hold this for 3 breaths if you can. And then bring the hand back onto the chair to release, because you're going to come inhale, head and knee to center, exhale, release. You can just turn around to use the back of the chair on the other side. I'm going to move my chair. Inhale, hand on the inside, open the hip, turn the head. Holding the chair or not holding the chair, 3 breaths. Inhale, hand on the chair, knee to center, exhale, release. So do that once more on each side. And again, it's a really tricky balance, this one, because you've taken a knee out to the side to open the hips get slightly, one side lifted slightly higher than the other, which affects balance. So again, it's a deliberate attempt just to see how able we are to hold ourselves in that steady space of mindfulness and awareness without being drawn into an emotional response or a critical thought. And in that way, we're building our mindfulness skills. So I'm thinking round about now, you're just about finishing the second leg. If you're not quite finished, take your time. And our last practice before we come down is going to be the warrior one. So some of you may wish to use the back of the chair for this and have the right leg forward, left leg back. A bit like when you were doing the lunge, not turning out the toes of this back foot, the left leg, and just making sure that as you move in and out of the warrior, that the knee is not going beyond the ankle. If you don't need the chair, you're going to bring the palms in front of the heart, and as you inhale, open the palms and lunge the right knee, and exhale, coming back. Inhale and exhale. So if you have a lot of flexibility, strength, experience in yoga, you want a little more challenge, you can take this foot further forwards. And as you do that, you will want to let the left heel lift off the mat. If you try to keep the back foot down, it'll end up turning out and throwing the hips off. We want to keep the hips facing forward. So you can let that back heel lift a little. It is going to make the pose a lot more challenging. It's only going to be for some of you. So use the back of the chair, do the contained version, and only do the stronger version if you really feel like it's within your capacity and it's not going to pull you out of a state of mindful awareness of breath and body. And then after the next one or two, releasing from that right-sided warrior, give the legs a shake. It's going to show you that stronger version from the side. So that's the position you'll end up in. Doesn't matter if this back leg is slightly bent at the knee, but you really do want to let that heel rise so you can go deeply into the lunge and really experience a deeper stretch than you experienced in the lunge on that side, on that thigh. So working with your breath. And if you don't need the chair, if you want to let the back heel rise, and then releasing from warrior one on the left side, we'll just do a little counter pose coming back into our chair supported downward dog once more. Just a couple of breaths, and then coming into our usual restorative inversion, lower legs on the chair, yoga block under the hips, head supported, arms a little way away from the body, palms facing upwards. And once you're in this position, you should feel really relaxing. Just allow your breath to be in its own natural rhythm. And if you're happy to close the eyes, let the eyes close. We'll have a soft gaze up towards the ceiling. Notice your quality of mind. Notice any emotions, any feelings that have arisen during the practice or during the last couple of practices. And notice all the sensations in your body and perhaps how they have shifted during the class. And then in the next breath or two, is thinking about releasing the feet off the chair, lifting the hips, sliding the block out, rolling onto your side, and then making any adjustments that you need to come into your relaxation. And relaxing either with the legs straight or the knees bent, feet wide and hip width apart, knees together for comfort, or any other position, including lying on your side if you need to do that. I'm going to do a simple relaxation that involves body, mind, and breath. So we're going to take our awareness to the whole of the right leg. I'm going to get you to pull the toes back, spread the toes, stretch the heel away from you. And then as you breathe in, if it's okay to do so, you're going to lift the right leg just an inch or two off the mat. And then you're going to exhale, take the leg down, and still exhaling, completely relax the leg and feel it rolling outwards at the hip. Just notice the sensation in that right leg, compare it with the left leg. And then left leg, pull the toes back, spread the toes, push the heel away, stretching and tensing the whole of the left leg, breathing in, lift the leg up off the mat. And exhale, let the leg lower, and still exhaling, let the leg soften and roll outwards. Focusing on both legs now, pointing the toes, squeezing the toes under, and then spreading the toes again, pulling the toes back, stretching the heels away, keeping both legs on the floor this time, but pressing them slightly down towards the mat. And then exhale, soften, release. Feel as if the legs are rotating outwards from these hips. Awareness to the hips, breathing in, squeeze and tighten the glutes, feel the hips lifting, and then breathing just a little bit more, press into the shoulders, don't lift the hips completely off the floor, just feel them becoming very light. And then long exhale, let the hips sink back down to the mat. Weight of the pelvis pressing into the layers of the hip muscles at the back of the body. Let's do that once more, breathing in, squeezing the hips, pressing into the shoulders, lifting the hips slightly. Long exhale, release the hips into softness. Notice the sensations in the hips. Breathing in, inhaling a little bit more up into the ribs. And as you breathe out, drawing the navel back towards the spine. In this stretched out position, the lower back won't go completely flat on the floor, but you'll feel it lengthening and coming a little bit out of its curve and more towards flat. Let's do that again. Inhale into the chest. Exhale, engage the tummy muscles, feel the lower back lengthening. And then inhale, allow the abdomen to be as soft as you can. Legs relaxed, hips relaxed, abdomen relaxed. Awareness to the right arm, stretch the arm away, spread the fingers, open the palm up towards the ceiling, wriggle the shoulder blade down the back, inhaling still, lift the arm slightly off the mat. Exhale, upper arm, elbow, wrist, back of the hand down and soft. Awareness to the left arm, tense the left arm, spread the fingers. Inhaling, lift the arm a little bit off the mat, wriggle the shoulder down, tense the left arm. And exhale, relax the shoulder, upper arm, elbow, wrist, back of the hand. Left arm is soft. Breathing in, both arms make soft fists, thumb out, open the palm, thumb in, squeeze. Inhaling, stretch the palms, stretch the fingers. Exhale, relax both arms. Just as the legs rotated out from the hips, the upper arms just rotating outwards from the shoulders. Awareness to both shoulders now. Inhale, draw the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale, slide them as far away from the ears as you can. Inhale, press the shoulders down into the floor. Feel the upper chest arching slightly. And exhale, soften and release. Awareness to the neck. Have the nose pointing up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, tuck the chin in, lift the head slightly, stretch the back of the neck. Exhale, place the head down and rotate the head to the right. Inhale, head to center, tuck the chin in, lift the head slightly, stretch the back of the neck. Exhale, head down, roll the head to the left. Inhale, head to center, lift, tuck the chin, stretch the back of the neck. Exhale, place the head back down, let the head relax. And lastly, the face, breathing in, furrow the brows, screw up the eyes, wriggle the jaw, press the tongue into the roof of the mouth. And then relax the eyes, relax the forehead, relax the jaw, let the tongue lie softly in the mouth. Let the whole of the face relax. Notice the sensations in every part of your body. Notice the steadiness of your mind. Notice any feelings, emotions that may be arising. Give yourself permission to stay in this relaxation just for a little while longer. Just being with your body, your breath, your awareness. Gently holding your awareness in this present moment by focusing the mind on the breath. And now allow your breath to deepen. Reconnect with the body by moving the fingers, wriggling the toes, stretching into your arms and your legs in any way that feels good. And when you're ready, if your legs are straight, bending the knees, rolling onto your side. Take a couple more breaths there. And then making your way back up to sitting either on the mat or back into the chair. Just going to revisit the breath for the last few moments of the class. So sitting comfortably with the spine upright, palms can be resting on the thighs, palms down or palms up. If you like to take a mudra, bring the index finger and the thumb together. Keep the shoulders relaxed, eyes closed or downcast. And tuning back into your mindful breath. Not trying to control the breath, simply being with it. Noticing the beginning, the middle, and the end of the inhalation. And the beginning, the middle, and the end of the exhalation. And at the end of the next exhale, take a final check-in with how you feel. Maybe revisit that scale of mindfulness from 1 to 10. Noticing the quality of mind, the evenness of emotion, the perception of awareness of bodily sensation. And then when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, blinking, open the eyes. Thank you very much for joining me this week. I will see you next week.